A Teacher and Her Faithful Student by Mellowmare. Princess Celestia, look at this exhibit. Isn't it just fascinating? Yes, quite fascinating, Twilight. You're not even looking. This artifact is from the pre-classical era and it's in mint condition. Can you believe how they managed to preserve it for so long? I can certainly admire their efforts. What's next? Oh, the enchanted textiles section. They say these fabrics still retain traces of ancient magic. Isn't that incredible? Absolutely magical. How long is this tour again? We've barely started. There are 15 more sections to go. Of course there are. Look at this, princess. This tapestry, woven entirely by unicorn magic. Can you feel the residual energy? Residual energy? I'm feeling something, yes. You're not as enthusiastic as I thought you'd be. I mean, this is history, knowledge. Everything we could ever want to learn is right here, preserved for us. Yes, Twilight, it's certainly all here. You don't sound convinced. Oh, I'm convinced. Convinced this museum has enough exhibits to last a lifetime, perhaps two. You're exaggerating. But just wait until we get to the scrolls section. The scrolls section? How delightful. Don't you want to know more about the history of magical parchment crafting? I'm afraid I already know quite a bit, being as old as parchment itself. Princess? Twilight, I'm only teasing. It's wonderful that you're enjoying yourself. You don't have to pretend for me, you know. I just thought you'd find this interesting too. But you forget, my faithful student. I've lived through most of this history, and while it's fascinating to you, for me it's more like rereading an old book. I guess that makes sense. Wait, were you there when these artifacts were created? Why didn't you say anything? Well, I didn't want to take the spotlight away from the museum's well-researched plaques. You should have told me. You can give me a first hoof account. That's way better than a plaque. I could, but then you wouldn't get to read the little blurbs you seem to love so much. Fine. But you can't fall asleep during the next section. I'll do my best. Promise? I solemnly swear, Twilight Sparkle, that I will stay as awake as possible during the scrolls. Good. Now come on. There's still so much more to see. So much more, indeed. Here we are, the ancient scrolls section. Oh, joy. Look, this one is from Starswell the Bearded. The Starswell, can you imagine? He must have touched this very scroll. Actually, he did. Wait, what? I remember that one quite well, actually. Are you serious? What's written on it? What was he doing when he wrote it? He was, well, this particular scroll was part of a series of letters he sent to me when he was working on a particularly challenging spell. I believe it was during his obsession with time magic. No way! This was that scroll? What did he write? What was the spell about? Oh, Twilight. Starswell was brilliant, yes, but he had a bit of an eccentric streak. He was convinced he could create a spell that would allow him to borrow time from future days to extend particularly productive ones. What? Borrow time? Did it work? Not quite. He ended up oversleeping for a week straight as a result. The time he borrowed came back to collect all at once, as it turned out. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. Why didn't I know about this? Well, it wasn't exactly one of his proudest moments. He preferred to keep that particular experiment hush-hush. That's incredible! What was he like? Starswell, I mean. Starswell? He was a bit like you, actually. Incredibly dedicated to his studies, always seeking out knowledge, but he could be, a little grumpy when things didn't go his way. Grumpy? I can't imagine that. Oh, trust me, when you've spent days poring over ancient texts trying to find a solution that just won't come, grumpiness is inevitable. I've seen him lose his temper over the most trivial things. Like what? Well, once he misplaced a quill, just a quill. He was convinced that it had been enchanted to vanish as some sort of prank. He spent hours searching for it, only to find it tucked behind his ear the entire time. That's ridiculous! I had no idea he had that side to him. Oh, there were many sides to Starswell. He was brilliant, yes, but also stubborn, proud, and, at times, surprisingly sentimental. Sentimental? Oh yes, there were moments, especially near the end of his life, where he would sit with me and just talk about everything. The students he had taught, the places he had visited, the spells he had yet to master. But more than anything, he spoke of his desire to leave a lasting impact. He wanted to be remembered, not just for his magic, but for what he had given to Equestria. And he did! He's one of the most revered wizards in history! Yes, though I sometimes wonder if he truly knew how much he meant to us all. I think he did, especially with you by his side. I hope so, Twilight. We shared many long nights working together, discussing the future of magic, the potential it held. He always had such grand ideas, dreams of what could be. You must miss him. I do, very much, but in some ways, I see him in you. Me? Yes, the way you approach your studies, your dedication to helping others through magic, and that same spark of curiosity he had. Starswell would have been proud of you, Twilight. Wow, I don't know what to say. That means so much coming from you, Princess. I speak only the truth, Twilight. You are every bit the scholar and leader that Starswell hoped to be, and more. Thank you! That really means a lot! Now then, shall we continue this tour, or are you planning to read every scroll in the archive? Can I do both? Ah, there's the Twilight I know.
Of ancient wonder, where history stands tall, Twilight steps with eager hooves, enchanted by it all. Artifacts preserved through time, magic from the past, the stories of the olden days, and spells that still last. She marvels at the tapestries woven by magic's hand, fabrics that hold energy from long forgotten lands. Each corner of the museum, a relic to behold, a journey through Equestria's days with secrets still untold. In this museum of time where history unfolds, every scroll, every spell, every tale once told. From the pre-classical age to magic's golden light, a treasure trove of knowledge shining so bright. But beside her walks Celestia with a knowing, gentle heart, for she has seen these wonders from the very start. Twilight, its discovery, a world of endless lore. But for Celestia, these ancient things are stories lived before. She's walked through the ages, seen scrolls being penned, watched spells take form, and witnessed kingdoms mend. The artifacts are memories of time she's known so well, of friends like stars were the bearded, and the magic they did spell. In this museum of time, where history stands still, Twilight feels the magic, the ancient knowledge thrill. But Celestia remembers the moments now past, the history she's lived in a museum meant to last. Among the ancient scrolls, one stands apart, a letter from Star's world, a piece of his heart. He once tried to control time, to stretch it through the day, but time reclaimed itself in its own peculiar way. Twilight learns from the story of the wizard's pursuit, his quest to bend the rules of time, a dream so absolute. And though he failed in his attempt to master time's flow, his legacy lives on in the magic we still know. In this museum of time, where echoes still ring, the lessons of the past are carried on the wind. From Star's world stream to Twilight's bright new age, the history of magic turns another page. Twilight walks on with wonder, eager for what's next. For every scroll she uncovers leaves her mind perplexed, and Celestia smiles, knowing in her heart that the magic of the future is just about to stow. For in this museum of time, the past and present meet, and through the scholars of today, the future will repeat.
It's the Mr. Tony Fiction channel. Mystery, also available as a podcast on Spotify. Bonnie and Easy Rumbo is Miss Tony, by the way. Fiction. Fiction. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also become a member for early access and exclusive content. Only $149 a month.